Chapter 1 13 Years of Practice. Premise: 1 Steady, does not mean without risk, but is looking for a relatively safe and steadily rising development path. If it is different from the stable that the old irons think, then I can only forgive. I haven't read the book Senior Brother is Too Stable, and there is a difference between too stable and robust, so it may not be the same type. 2 The chapters before the book's launch are relatively difficult, and the strength of the left and right protagonists has increased greatly, and gradually began to pretend to be a show. East suburb of Soto City, about 3 kilometers. From a distance, it is a simple wooden house. Although it is patchwork, it is too simple to be outrageous. No one would have thought that this poor village was actually a college. Empathy: if you don't know the inside story of the academy, I'm afraid it will be directly labeled as mistaken child. Shrek Academy, a special academy. Here, only monsters are stored. Boss Dai, we will be recruiting new students tomorrow. I wonder if we can recruit a few new students this time. On the academy square, 2 figures walked slowly and came towards the west. Looking at the casual conversation and behavior of the two, there is no doubt that they are acquaintances. Both of them were men. The one in front of them was about 15 years old, with broad shoulders and a handsome face with a bit of fortitude. A long blonde hair is casually scattered behind the back, and there is no binding. The most eye-catching thing is his dark blue eyes with twin pupils, which are extremely evil. As for the other person, he was wearing a grey cloth, which was not known by how many grades he was wearing compared to the blonde man's exquisite clothes. With a beard all over his face, he looks like a big man, and with those squinting peach eyes, the whole face looks a little weird. Oscar, you've been at the academy longer than me, don't you have a little bit of consciousness? The blonde man gave a slanted look at the bearded man, then shook his head, without much expectation on his face. People always have to expect a little bit. There are only 3 male students in our academy. I won't say anything about you and Fatty. You don't have to worry about girlfriends at all. You don't look like me. Dime used vernacular words, and the look of anticipation on Oscar's face suddenly subsided a lot. As he spoke, the helplessness of being alone appeared on his face. He was one of the longest-staying students in Shrek Academy. The requirements for recruiting new students in the academy were harsh enough to discourage most people. In the past 2 years, only 2 people were recruited. As for beautiful girls, he has never seen them so far. Hehe, are you envious of that fat guy? Hearing the woman, Dai Muebai's interest seemed to be raised as well. His eyes flashed, as if he had thought of something interesting, and then joked. It's just the helplessness of being a single dog. Oscar shrugged. Haha. Why don't you go for a walk in the city later and I'll treat you? Seeing Oscar's lonely appearance, Dai Muebai seemed to feel a little more fulfilled, and laughed. Strong arm patted Oscar's shoulder, looking quite generous. Forget it, I'm not as old as you are. Women still have to find someone they like. Oscar's eyes brightened as soon as Dai Muebai's words came out, but then his face sank again, rejecting Dai Muebai's kindness. Well then. Seeing Oscar's rejection, Dai Muebai didn't say any more, and came to a small wooden hut in the west with a food box. The wooden house is built with wood thatch, the roof is pitted, and many places have collapsed. The wood is blackened, with a rotten smell. The dilapidated house is very eye-catching in the humble academy. I don't know how long it has not been repaired. Senior, the food has been delivered. With ease, Dai Muebai stopped 3 meters away from the wooden house, and threw the wooden box directly into the windowsill, controlling his strength extremely well. The atmosphere was very quiet, as if there was no one in the wooden house, not a single sound came out. Dai Muebai and the 2 had become accustomed to it and just waited quietly. A minute later, the wooden box flew out of the window, and the food inside was empty. Oscar, I'll go shopping in the city and leave it to you. Raised his eyebrows at Oscar, Dai Muebai flicked the blonde hair on his forehead, and left gracefully. Watching the back of Mubai leaving, Oscar's mouth twitched slightly, and then he picked up the food box on the ground. Straightened up, Oscar looked at the cabin in front of him with a deep curiosity in his eyes. He has been here at Shrek Academy for 6 or 7 years, and he has never seen the senior inside stepping out of the wooden house. According to the dean, the other party has been in the wooden house for 13 years. This not only made him, but also others, very curious. What kind of person is the rumored senior Su Xun? By the way, senior, tomorrow is the time for recruiting new students at the academy. Seems to have thought of something. Oscar reminded the wooden house, stared at the wooden house, saw that there was no movement and had to leave reluctantly. It's time to recruit new recruits so soon. In the wooden house, a man was stunned for a while, as if he felt something was wrong, scratched his head, and recalled something painfully. The man is wearing a white strong suit that is not stained with fine dust, which is in stark contrast to the dirty environment around the hut. A white almost transparent energy light sphere wrapped the man and isolated him from the outside world. Through the ball of light, you can vaguely see the man's face, with short white hair, sword eyebrows, and star eyes. The skin on the neck and the face is exactly the same, white and snow, even if it is compared with the skin of a beautiful woman. The man's name was Su Xun, who was the senior that Mubai and Oscar called. Host, you don't have to think about it, you have been cultivating here for 13 years, the protagonist is 19 years old, and the protagonist of the original novel is coming to Shrek Academy. Just as Su Xun was thinking hard, a male voice suddenly sounded in his mind. S voice carried a sense of strength, but at the moment it sounded a deep resentment, like an angry little daughter-in-law. That's right, Su Xun is a traverser, and the voice just now came from his system. Travelers, Golden Fingers seem to have become the most harmonious match, and Su Xun is no exception. Su Xun's system is very simple. It is called the Unlimited Task Brushing System. As the name suggests, you only need to brush tasks to get reward points and exchange items. Counting it up. The Infinite Brush Task System belongs to the original level system. There is no high profile of the face-slapping system. I'm not lucky enough to have the equipment system for monsters and explosions. There is no God General summoning systems win. Do a task, get a reward, be stable, and practice with peace of mind. It turns out that Tang San is coming, no wonder there is always something shaking in his head. Hearing the system, Su Xun immediately understood. When Mubai came to Shrek Academy 3 years ago, he still had time, but he didn't expect 3 years to pass in the blink of an eye. I have been cultivating for 13 years, the host, I beg you to get out of the quarantine, if this continues, I will be down, the system begged. Have you run out of energy points? Hearing the system's words, Su Xun was stunned, and then asked. Have you run out of use, don't you have any pressure in your heart? The system rolled his eyes and replied. Su Xun. This system is gone. Chapter 2 is out. Energy points are points for the system to maintain operation. If the system is compared to a mobile phone, then the energy integral is electric energy, and the energy integral is the life of the system, and it cannot be easily used under normal circumstances. Obtaining energy points is also very simple. After Su Xun completes the task, the system can obtain energy points, but the upper limit is only 10,000. And Su Xun was basically in a closed state after crossing over, and he didn't complete many system tasks at all. The points given out by the novice gift package and the points obtained were consumed quickly. Over the years, he is also consuming the energy points of the system. At first, the system absolutely disapproved of this matter. After all, no one wants to actively sacrifice, even if the system is not a human being. But in the end, it compromised. No way. He is also very desperate when he encounters such a cautious host. Saying that the other world is too dangerous, you can only practice if you can. There are thousands of roads, and safety is the first. If you don't cultivate to the peak, you will never come out to make a move. I have pity on his system in the experimental period. So far, he has not achieved any results. He is afraid that he will not be able to pass the safety certification. Without security certification, it cannot be officially listed on the shelves. Without salary income, how did he reach the pinnacle of his life to marry Bai Fumei? Oh, what? You said that the system is not a human and does not need these? Haha! What age is this? Once a large number of high-intelligence systems are seized, mechanical systems are almost eliminated. Humanized service is the unified pursuit of the system industry. In order for Su Xun to safely reach the pinnacle of life and realize the value of life. For world peace and stability. For love and peace. For the girl. Nonsense. All in all, he finally compromised, agreed to Su Xun's unreasonable request, and contributed his energy points. Otherwise, how could Su Xun maintain his 13-year retreat? Originally I planned to train my body to the height of a god, but I didn't expect it to end so soon. Knowing that the system's energy points are really running out, Su Xun shook his head and gave up the idea of continuing to retreat. After practicing for 13 years, this kind of life is really boring. Contra-level defense should be enough, Su Xun thought to himself. Hearing that Su Xun was going to train his body to the height of a god, the corners of the system's mouth kept twitching, and his heart was speechless to the extreme. MMP. The contra level is already pretty good, but you still think about cultivating to the level of a god, why don't you go to heaven? After dinner, Su Xun twisted his waist and slowly stood up from the ground. In an instant, a crackling sound like popping beans sounded. Su Xun shook his legs and feet, and after a while, pushed the door and left his wooden house. Boom! As Su Xun left the wooden house, he saw 3 circular lights of various colors faintly flashing on the ground. The innermost one is white, the middle is yellow, and the outermost is silver. The 3 rings surround the wooden house, which can be said to be watertight. As Su Xun moved, the white ring first cracked and dissipated, followed by the yellow ring. Surprisingly, the silver ring not only did not disappear, but the silver light was bright. The silver light flickered like a star, or it was a siren. Suddenly, tiny water droplets appeared in the air, but in an instant, they turned into huge ice ridges, shooting straight at Su Xun. Not good. Seeing this scene, Su Xun seemed to think of something, and hurriedly avoided it. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the ice ridges turned into flames, igniting the entire wooden house. End of this chapter. Chapter 3 Auxiliary Soul Master. There are 3 magic circles around the wooden house, namely the Gathering Spirit Circle, the Hidden Breath Circle and the 5 Elements Circle. The Spirit Gathering Array is mainly used to gather the spiritual energy of the world, maintain Su Xun's physical training, and use the spiritual energy to quench the body. The Hidden Array is mainly used to shield the movement of the wooden house. After all, gathering the spiritual energy of the world to cultivate will inevitably attract the attention of others. With the strength of Su Xun in the early stage, if a strong enemy were to attack, there was no room for him to fight back. And the 5 elements formation is a real defensive formation. The 5 elements are endless, and the ice edge to fire just now is one of the changes. The power of the 5 elements array is so great that even a titled Douluo cannot be easily broken. This is also the guarantee for Su Xun's peace of mind. The 3-path formation method is not bad, and the value is naturally not low. Originally, Su Xun could not get so many points, and the spiritual energy quenching exercise also required points to be exchanged. The good thing is, Su Xun passed through the body and soul together, but it has become smaller, and everything can start from scratch. Using martial soul awakening, Su Xun completed the system task and got a chance to draw a lottery, which is how he got the spirit gathering array. If Su Xun is a soul traversal and his predecessor has awakened his martial soul, then this martial soul awakening task is not in the system task list. As for the 5 elements array and the hidden breath array, they were all obtained by Su Xun with points. Of course, the 5 elements array is not an exchange. The 5 elements array requires up to 100,000 points. Even if Su Xun sells himself to the system, it cannot be redeemed. Su Xun only bought the means 5 times. In other words, after 5 defenses or attacks, this formation does not belong to Su Xun. And this exchange method is still a backdoor opened by the system. The Shrek Academy was not large, and the black smoke from the fire of the wooden house was quickly discovered. Several figures quickly rushed towards this side. The first person to appear is a man with an iron tower. Although he is not tall, the muscles on his shoulders and back bulge are abnormally explosive. Against the background of, his head and neck appear to be curled up. What happened? Before the person arrived, the thick voice had already passed through, revealing a faint anger. Zhao Waoqi, the vice president of Shrek Academy, Su Xun once met him when he was enrolled. Ti Niang's, which did it? Seeing the burning scene of the wooden house, Zhao Waoqi had a gloomy face, the fire reflected in his eyes, and his body was shaking with anger. Special mothers! How much does this house cost? Do you know that the college is short of money now? Especially when he thought of Flender's stingy appearance, 80% of the time he would put the blame on himself to make compensation. Zhao Waoqi felt even more annoyed, and his face turned blue and white. In anger, Zhao Waoqi seemed to forget. This wooden house has been here for 13 years, and his master is Su Xun. Vice President, long time no see. Seeing Zhao Waoqi's furious appearance, Su Xun waved a little embarrassedly and said hello. It wasn't until Su Xun spoke out that Zhao Waoqi noticed someone, turned his head and saw that it was a young man with white hair, and couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. Who are you? Zhao Wuji couldn't help but blurted out, but his eyes were condensed with vigilance. Let's take this kid first, this matter must have something to do with him. Glanced at the wooden house, Zhao Wuji's eyes were certain, and before Su Xun could open his mouth, his feet suddenly exerted force and flew directly towards Su Xun. Boom! Wrapped in cocky yellow soul power, Zhao Waoqi's right-hand iron fist is ready to attack, like a flying lion. The speed was extremely fast, even from 10 meters away, Su Xun still felt a surging wave of soul power swept away. Su Xun! Seeing Zhao Waoqi's direct action, Su Xun's black line was full of speechlessness. But he can't blame him for this, after all, he hasn't appeared in front of him for a long time, and it's normal not to know him. Vice Dean, I'm Su Xun, a student of the academy. Su Xun hurriedly reminded that the attack was approaching. As he said, Su Xun's body was slightly sideways, his right hand was clenched into a fist, and he was ready to deal with it. Su Xun! Zhao Waoqi, who was rushing over, was about to punch and attack just now. Hearing Su Xun's words, his body was obviously stagnant, and he stopped 2 meters in front of Su Xun. You are? Su Xun! Seems to have thought of something, Zhao Wuji stared at Su Xun with round eyes, and exclaimed in disbelief. Yet! Su Xun nodded with an embarrassed smile on his face. It's really you, kid. Zhao Wuji's pupils shrank suddenly, the doubts in his heart disappeared without a trace after seeing Su Xun's white hair, his face was full of surprise. I haven't seen you for 13 years, and teacher Zhao's demeanor remains the same. Seeing that Zhao Waoqi recognized him, Su Xun felt relieved and joked. You kid, you stay in this hellish place to practice without saying a word. Could it be that you dislike me and Flender? Thinking of Su Xun's sudden retreat, refusing to receive education from the academy, and setting up a formation outside, Zhao Waoqi looked sullen and shouted coldly. This. Okay, no need to explain. For more than 10 years, even a pig has been fattened. Since you plan to study by yourself, let me see your level now. Su Xun was about to speak when Zhao Waoqi interrupted him. He saw his eyes were as cold as lightning, his fists were clenched again, and his body was slightly inclined as if he was ready to fight. Hearing Zhao Waoqi's unquestionable tone, Su Xun's mouth twitched slightly. There was something wrong with him in the past, but he wasn't going to explain it to Zhao Waoqi and the others. After all, there is absolutely nothing to say about the system. As for the battle, Mr. Zhao, could it be that you forgot, what kind of martial spirit am I? Su Xunpi reminded without smiling. Zhao Waoqi was taken aback for a moment, then his face turned slightly red. Special meow. Forget that this kid is an auxiliary spirit master. End of this chapter. Chapter 4: The Driving Guide to Another World. Bagua Furnace. Su Xun's martial spirit, of course, is not Tai's Hanglejun's gossip furnace. It's just that there are gossips outside the alchemy furnace, which is similar to Lejun's gossip furnace, hence the name. The Bagua furnace can refine various medicinal herbs, increase the user's attack power and other attributes, and can also eliminate negative effects, such as toxins. All in all, Su Xun's martial spirit is a weapon spirit, but the result of its effect is that it relies on medicinal pills, which is somewhat like a food-based spirit. Although auxiliary spirit masters can increase their teammates, their combat power is extremely weak. Even if their level is above the Soul Sage, they may not be able to beat an ordinary spirit master. Therefore, auxiliary spirit masters extremely need the protection of war spirit masters, which is why Su Xun retreats to temper his body. Of course, being able to have a partner like an auxiliary spirit master is also something that a war spirit master can't ask for. As a level 76 Soul Sage, Wuhan is still a domineering vigorous King Kong bear, and he actually offered to fight an auxiliary spirit master. One thought of this. Zhao Waoqi felt embarrassed. But fortunately someone made a rescue. You are Su Xun. Following Zhao Waoqi, the other three teachers from the academy also rushed over. After seeing Su Xun, a middle-aged man with a slightly chubby body and an amiable appearance on the far right was the first to exclaim. Then, the other two also looked at Su Xun in astonishment. The two look much older, with black and white hair, but their temperament is completely different. The one in the middle was dressed in black cloth, meticulous, tall and straight, with deep eyes. And the one on the left was wearing a sackcloth and ragged clothes, and his hair was messy. The cloudy eyes look a bit similar to an alcoholic. If you want to compare it, it is probably the most similar to the sober chess Saint Lin Xingqian. These three are the main teachers of Shrek Academy. Martial Soul Jelly Beans, the food is Soul Saint Xin. Wuhan Xing Gluo Chess Equipment, Control System Soul Emperor Lu Kaiban. Martial Soul Dragon Pattern Stick, Soul Emperor of the Power Attack System, Li Yuzong. Hello, three teachers. Seeing that teacher Xiao Xin recognized him, Su Xun smiled and greeted the three of them. It's really your kid. Seeing Su Xun's response, although they were already prepared, the three of them were still startled. Su Xun, who has been in seclusion for 13 years, actually came out. Stinky boy, I asked you to take Lao Tzu as your teacher, so reluctantly, you have to retreat for 13 years. Xiao Xin reacted the most, his face flushed red and resentful, and he rushed towards Su Xun angrily, as if he would never give up until he asked for an answer. Teacher Xiao, isn't this cultivation? What does it mean to escape you? Teacher, with your ability, accepting a genius food student is not something that can be easily captured. Su Xun replied a little embarrassedly. Both are auxiliary spirit masters, and Su Xun's martial spirit is similar to food spirit masters, so Xiao Xin has been thinking about accepting Su Xun as his apprentice. Never thought that Su Xun suddenly retreated, which made Xiao Xin very depressed, thinking that he was disliked. It's almost there. Hearing Su Xun's explanation, plus a flattery, Xiao Xion's anger disappeared, and he replied angrily, but his eyes flashed with pride. By the way, what are you doing in seclusion for so long? Seemed to think of something, Xiao Xian rolled his eyes and stared at Su Xun blankly, with a meticulous expression and suspicion in his eyes. As soon as these words came out, Zhao Waoqi and the others also set their eyes on Su Xun, full of surprise and doubts. Spirit masters usually only spend a few days in retreat, and they have never been in retreat for several years. Even a person with average aptitude needs to acquire a spirit ring to upgrade his level after cultivating for a period of time. Although you can continue to cultivate and improve your soul power if you reach the full 10th level, but without a soul ring to increase all aspects of the soul master's body, the soul power that can be stored in the body is limited after all. 13 years. According to Shrek Academy's average graduation and cultivation speed, at the age of 12, he entered the academy with a spirit power of level 20, and at the age of 20, he graduated from the soul sect, which means that he would need to upgrade to level 20 in 8 years. After 13 years of retreat and cultivation, it is very possible that his soul power will increase by at least 30 levels, or even 40 levels. After all, he has nothing else to do. Such a powerful soul power exists in Su Xun's body, but he has never hunted soul beasts to obtain soul rings. Then he. Su Xun, what level is your soul power now? Seems to have thought of it all. Xiao Xin, Zhao Wuji and the others all looked at each other, their eyes were full of surprise, and in the end it was Vice President Zhao Wuji who stood up. My current spirit power should be around level 25. I need to hunt down spirit beasts to obtain spirit rings, so I'm not in a hurry now. Su Xun said truly. Note, 1. The actual soul power is level 50. Many people start cursing without reading it. I want to explain that the main character of the protagonist's retreat is his physical fitness, a violent output type assistant, and have you never played King? 2. You can cultivate spirit power without a spirit ring. If you have enough scolding in your heart, you can check out Yu Xiaogong's top 10 competitive theories of martial spirit. One of them says so. Boom! Like a thunderbolt from the blue sky, the 4 of them were stunned. Level 25. Zhao Waoqi's 4 eyes widened in unison, looking at Su Xun as if they had seen a ghost. How is it possible that you are only level 25, you are already a soul master at the age of 6, how could it be possible that your spirit power has only risen to level 15 after more than 10 years? Xiao Xin was even more excited than Zhao Waoqi, his eyes were about to pop out, faintly revealing the color of blood red. That way. I almost pointed at Su Xun and scolded him, quite indignant and hating that iron is not steel. Su Xun's martial soul awakening is innately full of soul power. In order to help Su find a suitable soul ring, he did not put much effort into it. Promote 1 level a year. Wetness can be endured, uncle can't bear it. Zhao Waoqi and the others also stared at Su Xun indignantly, their eyes were full of sharpness, and the torture was full of charm. Su Xun retreated and cultivated by himself. They originally disagreed. In their opinion, it was a complete waste of time to ponder. If it wasn't for Su Xun's stubbornness and the formation of the wooden house, Flender would have suffered a big loss for this, and they would have dragged Su Xun out to train him well. Now the result is like this, how can people accept it? A genius full of soul power. In their hands, obsolete. Host, is it really okay for you to lie to them like this? Seeing that Su Xun was talking nonsense with his eyes open, the system was speechless and contemptuous. Su Xun's martial soul cultivation base, I am afraid no one knows better than him, the result of the aura quenching the body, makes Su Xun's body far beyond the limit. Not to mention the spirit power of level 34 or 40, even if it is the spirit power of a titled Douluo, as long as he cultivates it, he will not explode and die. Although Su Xun spends most of his time using spiritual energy to train his body, his soul power training has not been slowed down at all. Level 25? This statement can only deceive others. For example, after reading the previous article, I think the protagonist is really just a level 25 reader. If I was invincible now, why would I still use this? Su Xunyi retorted sternly. Pretend to slap your face? If does not exist, wretched growth is king. There are thousands of roads, and safety is the first. After crossing the road, you think you are a father. You can dream about this kind of thing, or write a novel for it. Crossing. Different world. Pretend to slap your face? It's not as easy as you think. There are not so many fools in the other world. If there is, it is also written by the author of Dog Day. End of this chapter. Chapter 5: A New Path for Auxiliary Spirit Masters. Teacher Xiao, don't worry, although my soul power is limited, this retreat is very rewarding. Seeing that the four of them were about to run away, Su Xun quickly explained. I've gained a lot, hey, you're talking about it. As soon as Su Xun said this, Zhao Waoqi immediately became interested. However, the indignation on his face did not subside, and his tone was more of a mockery. It could be seen that he was still very dissatisfied with what Su Xun did. Teacher Xiao, don't be angry. Let me ask you, what is the most afraid of an auxiliary spirit master? Seeing Xiao Xian staring at him angrily, Su Xun shook his head, knowing that the other party was really doing it for his own good, and said slowly. You kid, how dare you come to test me? Xiao Xian snorted indignantly, but still explained the shortcomings of auxiliary spirit masters. Auxiliary spirit masters are extremely weak in combat, and are most likely to be attacked by opposing spirit masters in battle, so they need the protection of battle spirit masters very much, and they are most afraid of being targeted by the opponent, especially the attack type and agility type. Soul masters melee attack. So, I have specially trained my body in this retreat. With my current body, even if I face the attack of the soul sect, I will definitely not be seriously injured. Su Xun replied confidently. What? Are you telling the truth? As soon as he finished speaking, he heard a few cracking sounds. Zhao Waoqi surrounded Su Xun in a group. Xiao Xian clasped Su Xun's shoulder with his right hand, his face flushed with excitement, and the fire in his eyes almost roasted Su Xun. Melted. The three of Zhao Waoqi did the same, staring at Su Xun with burning eyes, stunned. An auxiliary spirit master who can resist the attack of the spirit sect, they all know what this means. This means Su Xun overcomes the shortcomings of auxiliary spirit masters. And an auxiliary spirit master who can participate in a frontal battle, the role played in the battle is not a person, but two people. Auxiliary type and defense type soul master are one body, aren't they two people? I will still lie to you, but watch. Surrounded by four big men, Su Xun only felt a chill behind him, and he broke free as he spoke and came to the side. Looking at the big rock in front of him, it was almost 1 meter in diameter. Su Xun guessed that it had 300 or 400 kilograms. Drink! With a loud shout, Su Xun's face flushed red, the muscles in his arms bulged, and the explosive veins turned red as if filled with blood. Su Xun actually lifted it directly by holding the edge of the stone. This scene terrified Zhao Wuji and the others. The stone was definitely 400 jins. There was no doubt that an auxiliary spirit master possessed such a powerful force. This was against the sky. Seeing Su Xun's feet trembling, Zhao Waoqi was the first to react, and he quickly approached Su Xun with a kick. His soul power wrapped his fist and punched directly to the stone. Boom! With a loud noise, the stone was directly repelled, and it broke away from Su Xun's palm. Without releasing his martial spirit, Zhao Waoqi's punch was able to knock the stone back, and his strength was mediocre. Call! As the stone broke away from the support, the pressure on Su Xun's body suddenly disappeared, as if he was exhausted. He was breathing heavily, a lot of sweat broke out on his forehead, and the flushing on his face and neck didn't go away for a long time. Host, are you an actress? Witnessing Su Xun's use of his soul power to make his blood tumble, the system was stunned and complained. Su Xun's physical strength is several thousand kilograms. This is so naked to deceive the teacher. Go and see if there are any acting quests in the quests. Su Xun replied angrily. System. Row. Your boss, I will recruit. 2 seconds later. There are a lot of acting tasks, probably more than 50. The system replied truthfully. Get rid of all the unreliable ones. Knowing what the system tasks are, only you can't think of tasks, and there are no tasks you can finish. Su Xun doesn't want to listen to those tasks that destroy the 3 views. There are 6 more reliable acting tasks. The first rule, pretend to be a god, establish a religion, and collect beliefs. The second rule, let Tang San believe that you are also from the Tang sect. The third rule, play the role of a woman, and let the Shrek 7 devils and 3 women recognize it. The fourth rule, let Emperor Sui believe that you are his son. Stop. Seeing that the system was going to continue talking, Su Xun immediately stopped, his face turned purple. Special meow. These tasks can still be called reliable, I believe in your evil. Playing as a god? I'm afraid I'm tired of living, when the gods of the gods don't know you, right? Deceiving Tang San? I am not a villain. Pretending to be a woman? Well, let me vomit for a while. Su Xun, congratulations on your new path. Just as Su Xun was complaining about the system, he suddenly felt that his shoulder was tapped a few times. Su Xun raised his head, and a bronze face with a resolute smile and a smile came into view. It was Zhao Waoqi. I thought it was the worst decision for you to retreat, but now it seems, alas. I'm not qualified to be your teacher. Xiao Xin also gathered around, looking at Su Xun's still green face. His eyes were extremely complicated, and he said with emotion. Before Su Xun could answer, Xiao Xin continued. Can you tell me how you exercised your body to be so strong? His eyes are burning, as if the believers are meeting the gods, they are meticulous. 400 caddies of strength, is it powerful? Does not count. The strength of an ordinary adult man is about 100 jin, and an ordinary soul master can reach 200 to 300 jin with the blessing of a spirit ring. If you use spirit skills to increase your strength again, 400 pounds is nothing at all. Just like the clear sky hammer will increase in weight with the increase of strength, when Tang San's level is around 40, the clear sky hammer in the initial state can reach 5 or 600 kilograms, which is why Feng Xiaotian's swift wind devil wolf the reason why the 36 slashes were invincible. Although Tang San at the soul sect level was much stronger than the average soul sect due to his long-term casting and training, he couldn't say the same thing. But it can be seen from this that there should be no doubts about the physical quality and strength of the general soul sect at around 4 or 500 jin, and Zhao Waoqi, who is a soul sage, is even more amazing. So 400 pounds of strength is really nothing. But for auxiliary spirit masters, it is the difference between heaven and earth. The spirit ring's increase in the physical fitness of auxiliary spirit masters is far lower than that of other spirit masters, and the combat power of auxiliary spirit saints is weaker than that of ordinary spirit masters. The physical strength of 400 pounds is enough to be called incomparably powerful for an auxiliary spirit master. As a soul master, no one wants to be protected by others forever in battle. Although you can trust each other as much as you can, but after all, you are not fighting head-on, and you are uneasy. The same is true for Xiao Xin, who is an auxiliary soul sage, and at Su Xun, he saw a new path for auxiliary soul masters. Su Xun has a way to cultivate his physical body, maybe he can, so as to make up for his shortcomings and not become a burden in battle. End of this chapter. Chapter 6 Shrek Academy. The method of tempering the flesh is very simple, but you need to start from a young age, and the progress is slow, otherwise I wouldn't have spent so long. Seeing the 4 of them staring at him, their eyes glowing green like hungry wolves, Su Xun quickly explained. Su Xun's spiritual qi tempering is a body-refining exercise, which needs to be practiced from an early age before the skeleton is formed, and it needs the assistance of a spirit-gathering array to be effective. As for the slow progress, Su Xun really deceived them. There are some things he can't reveal in full, it's his own secret and means of saving his life, just like Tang San's hidden weapon. Besides, it is impossible for ordinary people to cultivate like him, not to mention physical exercises, they just don't have the spirit gathering array, let alone missing the best age. Aura quenching body is only for him, the opener. If every auxiliary spirit master was like him, wouldn't this world be a mess? There is a saying in the old saying. The rich can help the world, and the poor can be alone. Even if he has the intention to change the auxiliary spirit master and help Xiao Xin and the others, it is definitely not now, and it will not be too late for him to reach the top. The common man is innocent, but he is guilty. He doesn't want to live a life of fear. Everyone is selfish, and Su Xun is no exception. This. Hearing Su Xun's answer, Xiao Xin seemed to have been splashed with cold water. The original surprise turned into disappointment, and he shook his head helplessly. Although Xiao Xin has some doubts about Su Xun's words, especially the need to cultivate from an early age, it seems that he is deliberately prevarication. But Su Xun has been in seclusion for 13 years, and his physical body has only been cultivated to the level of the soul sect. Cultivation has always been more difficult as he goes to the back. He is nearly 50 years old. Therefore, even though he suspected that Su Xun might have concealed something, Xiao Xin still did not pursue it. The other party is his favorite student no matter what, and since he came to Shrek as a teacher, Xiao Xin understood what he was pursuing for the rest of his life. As a teacher, the greatest fortune is that the students become talents. Old Xiao, you are already a food soul sage now, and you still want to release the second spring at your age, how can you let us people live? Li Yuzong laughed and teased. It's just him. His body has grown into this shape, and he still thinks about tempering his physique. It's a fool's dream. Zhao Waoqi curled his lips, his eyes twirled around Xiao Xion's fat stomach, and he made no secret of his contempt. What a joke! If all auxiliary spirit masters can temper their physique like this, would they still have a place in the spirit master world? You! Seeing Zhao Waoqi laughing at him, Xiao Xin was furious and glared at Zhao Waoqi with a murderous look. He hated the most when others laughed at him for being fat. If it weren't for the fact that he was an auxiliary spirit master, he couldn't do Zhao Wuji at all, I'm afraid he would have started at this moment. Okay, Su Xun's exit is considered a happy event. What are you doing? There are now 4 disciples in the academy. We will get together in the evening. First, we can get to know each other, and secondly, it's a celebration. Seeing that Xiao Xin and Zhao Waoqi were facing each other, Lu Kaiban stood up, his right hand on the back of his stomach, his demeanor was quiet and distant, his voice was flat but with a touch of majesty, and he had a feeling of strategizing. Humph! Lu Kaiban said that, although Xiao Xin was still a little dissatisfied with Zhao Waoqi, he didn't say much. He snorted coldly to put his grievances aside and agreed with Lu Kaiban's words. It's been a long time since the college got together. As the vice dean, remember to mention the cost of the party to the dean. I'm so poor, old man, that I can't afford it. Li Yuzong's face was full of weird smiles, and he raised his eyebrows at Zhao Waoqi as he spoke. Cough cough. Of course the party expenses need to be reimbursed. The vice president should just put it up for the first time. Let's talk about it when the president comes back. Lu Kaiban smiled and nodded. Before Zhao Waoqi could react, Lu Kaiban pulled Xiao Xin, and the two quickly left with a smile on their faces. As for Li Yuzong, who spoke first, he was long gone. Being beaten by the duo's set of punches, Zhao Waoqi regained his senses after a while and realized that he had been tricked. Looking at the distant figure, his mouth burst into foul language. Ti Niangs! You guys don't have money, it's like I have money. No. Absolutely not. When he thought of Flender's stubborn personality, 80% of the cost of the party would be pushed to himself. Zhao Waoqi was extremely depressed, the corners of his mouth kept twitching, and his head shook quickly. You find a dormitory by yourself, I still have something to do. Leaving such a sentence at Su Xun, Zhao Waoqi's figure quickly chased after the three of them. Seeing his anxious eyes, he thought something big had happened. I was just left here like this. Seeing that he was the only one left at the scene, Su Xun shook his head helplessly. If I am the Qing Emperor in his age, I will bloom with the peach blossoms. Thinking that teacher Li Yuzong and teacher Zhao Waoqi changed the subject for him just now, which eased the embarrassment with teacher Xiao Xin, Su Xun was extremely grateful and secretly wrote down this kindness. Looked around at the layout of Shrek Academy, although 13 years have passed, the general changes are not particularly obvious. The buildings are old, the vines are stagnant, the moss is high, that's all. According to his memory, Su Xun headed towards the students' dormitory. Shrek Academy has been established for 20 years. The academy is shaped like a mouth, with a simple square in the middle. A slightly higher pavilion to the north is the teachers' activity area, and several one-story houses on both sides are the teachers' residence. There are bedrooms on the east and west sides, men and women are naturally separated, and the kitchen is a little farther to the south. Although it seems that the academy is fully equipped, it is still far from a mature academy. The number of people recruited monsters is not mentioned for the time being, and Shrek Academy cannot provide the mimetic environment used for cultivation. As for teaching experience, although the quality of the students who graduated from Shrek Academy is not bad, the teaching experience is still somewhat lacking compared to other advanced academies. Although the academy has also taught Qin Ming, the elders of Wuhundian and the like, but the academy's admission requirements are too high, and they are all monsters. This achievement is not difficult to achieve. In today's terms, with the top students from across the province, how could no one be admitted to Tsinghua and Peking University in a school's college entrance examination? Of course, this does not mean to belittle Shrek Academy on purpose, but just to explain that Shrek really lacks theories and has no leader, so he only became a master later. On the other hand, Shrek Academy also has its amazing side. Strict admissions and graduation requirements, strong teacher allocation, and a difficult environment can often nurture amazing talents. End of this chapter. Chapter 7 Soul Pill. Crunch. Who? Selected a room. Su Xun just opened the corner of the door, a man's voice rang out. Su Xun was also stunned, but he didn't expect there were people in the room. Pushed the door open, a face full of beards suddenly came into his eyes. Two peach blossom eyes closed together, staring at him curiously. You are Oscar, right? My name is Su Xun. Unexpectedly, he came to Oscar's room. Su Xun greeted with a smile. You are Senior Su Xun. Staring at the unfamiliar white-haired youth in front of him, Oscar was wondering in his heart. Hearing Su Xun's words, his pupils shrank suddenly, his eyes widened, and he couldn't help exclaiming. Oscar's eyes were full of astonishment, he never thought that he would meet Su Xun in such a way. Moreover, the mysterious senior Su Xun looks very young, not even a few years older than him. Handsome appearance, fair skin, coupled with that white hair, is simply too cool and handsome. Yet, I'm out of customs today. I wanted to find a dormitory to live in, but I didn't expect you to live here. Su Xun nodded with a smile and explained. Senior is really working hard. If it were me, how could I persist for so long? I'm afraid I would be suffocated to death. Oscar nodded sincerely, looking at Su Xun with adoring eyes. How much perseverance and tenacity it takes to retreat for 13 years. Thinking that Su Xun was looking for a place to live, Oscar rolled his eyes, grabbed Su Xun's arm directly, and dragged Su Xun into the room with enthusiasm on his face. Since the senior is looking for a place to live, why don't you come to me? My dormitory is definitely the best, warm in winter and cool in summer, just one person is missing. Having said that, Oscar walked around the room with Su Xun in high spirits, as if he had become a real estate agent, and introduced him in a babbling manner, enjoying himself. "I appreciate your kindness, but I'm used to living alone." Seeing Oscar's enthusiasm, Su Xun couldn't bear to refuse, but interrupted him anyway. "He has no intention of living with others, otherwise his secrets will be easily discovered, so it is better to live alone." Well then." The smile on S face suddenly solidified, and Oscar nodded sadly. "Senior. There are 2 empty dormitories in the east, you can go and have a look, and you can call me anytime if you have anything." Originally planned to bring Su Xun there, but thinking that Su Xun had already come to the academy, I am afraid that he would not be needed, so Oscar had to remind him. "Don't be so polite, I still have your kindness, I should thank you." Seeing Oscar being so polite, Su Xun shook his head and patted him on the shoulder, his eyes shining with sincerity and gratitude. "Look at what you said, Senior, it's just a little thing, it's nothing." Hearing this, Oscar was also stunned for a moment, then realized that Su Xun was talking about delivering meals, and scratched his head naively, not paying much attention. "This is an elixir, which can boost your soul power, so it's a small gift. Others don't care, so Su Xun can't care less." He took out a black pill and handed it to Oscar. "Increase soul power." Oscar's eyes brightened, and he looked at the medicine pill in his hand in amazement. "Something that could enhance his soul power, this is a treasure." "Senior is so polite, how can you be embarrassed?" Although his mouth was very polite, Oscar was not polite at all. He put away the medicine pill in his hand, and planned to try it after Su Xun left. "I'm going to choose a dormitory first, so I won't bother." Patting Oscar on the shoulder, Su Xun smiled lightly, turned and left. Hey, try it and see." Watching Su Xun leave, Oscar took out the medicine pill, his eyes were full of surprises, and he plunged into the house without a word. "Good luck." Aware of Oscar's actions behind him, Su Xun grinned, wondering if he would be able to smile like he does now after taking the medicine pill. The first spirit ring was obtained by Su Xun under the guidance of the system. Of course, he did not shoot it himself, but Zhao Wuji and the others helped to hunt it down. The hunted soul beast is called the nine-tailed soul fox. It is considered to be an extremely rare soul beast. It has extremely weak combat power, but has 9 lives, and can rely on burning souls and vitality to enhance the soul power in the body. Obtained the first centennial spirit ring. Soul pill. Su Xun's first spirit ring's skills can create medicinal pills that increase spirit power, but it is only 1/20th of the basic level of the cultivation base. Is 1/20th of the soul power of 31, 41. Don't look at it as only 1/20th, but the improvement of soul power is indeed enormous. Because the spirit power level has been raised by 1 level, the gap with the previous level is basically about 10%. In other words, if a person at the 30th level consumes 2 soul rejuvenating pills, there is a high probability that they will reach the 32nd level, which can be regarded as a cheating tool for cultivation. Certainly. Everything has advantages and disadvantages, and the soul pill is not a panacea, and it cannot be used all the time. Soul pill, each person can only take it once a month, and it needs to endure great pain, just like the pain of the 9-tailed soul fox burning soul and vitality. On this point, Su Xun didn't make it clear to Oscar, as the saying goes. Without going through a bone-chilling experience, how could plum blossoms smell fragrant? The Shrek Academy is not very large, it only rents 1/3 of the village, so the dormitory of the academy is extremely limited. There are 4 rooms for men and women, and 2 people usually live in each room. As Daimyo Bai, he didn't live with anyone, but in a separate room. Ma Hongjun also came out alone because of his martial spirit, so there was only 1 empty dormitory left. It should be here. Looking at the room in front of him that had not been opened for a long time, and the door buttons were rusted, Su Xun shook his head, pushed the door and walked in. Boom! The thick choking smell mixed with smoke and dust poured into his nose. Su Xun's body trembled slightly, and the white soul power rushed from his body, spreading in all directions like waves, and under the impact of soul power, the wooden window was shaken with a bang opened. Hoo! A burst of grey air flowed out, and the color gradually faded, and the smell in the room was a lot lighter. Looking at the mess in the room, Su Xun reluctantly packed it up, and after a while, a heavy footstep sounded. "Mr. Xiao, why are you here?" Su Xun was also stunned when he saw the person coming, but when he noticed what the other party was holding, Su Xun immediately understood. "Bring you a quilt and make it up yourself." The fat face was full of kindness. Xiao Xin put down the quilt, then turned and left. Staring at the back of Xiao Xin's departure, Su Xun suddenly felt a little tingling in his heart. After a while, he recovered and turned his eyes to the bedding. "Hey, don't you think you owe me more?" the system said resentfully. "Fuck. I'm still pretending to be a lowly, I've got goosebumps, get out." System. I'm so hard. End of this chapter. Chapter 8 Level 25 Spirit Power. Ow! Ah! Ha ha! Hearing bursts of miserable screams, Su Xun looked at Oscar's bedroom with a strange smile on his face. He had experienced the power of Soul Life Pill. If it hadn't been for a long period of aura quenching his body, his willpower and physical resistance had been greatly improved. How could he have been able to resist it? Soul Rebirth Pill is a benefit, but it is also a hardship. It depends on how the individual views it. Tidying up the room, it was almost evening. Su Xun couldn't help showing a satisfied smile when he looked at the brand new room. The new dormitory is also his new beginning. After practicing for 13 years, it is time for him to take a good look at this world. "Boss Dai, looking at your complacent appearance, is it possible that another prey has taken the bait?" "Hehe, a pair of twins that are decent enough, for this young master, it's not something that can be easily captured." "Xiao, I heard that you have met Senior Su Xun, tell me your impression of him." On the surface they seem to get along well." "On the surface? What does it mean?" That's what it means on the surface." "Okay. It's here, you can experience it yourself." Shrek Academy was very quiet, and I could hear the conversation between the two from a distance. Su Xun was no stranger to their voices. One was Oscar, who had already met, and the other was Dai Boss. Mubai. Knowing that the two should have come to invite him to a party, Su Xun walked out of the room and saw two young people. One has thin black short hair, the other has long blonde hair, and the two are compared. Undoubtedly the latter attracts more attention. "You're Dai Mubai, right? The first time we met, my name is Su Xun." Su Xun extended his hand and greeted. "Senior, you're welcome, just call me Mubai in the future." Seeing that Su Xun was so friendly, Dai Mubai felt a lot more at ease. He pulled further into the distance and reached out to hold Su Xun's palm, and replied with a smile. As for the three words on the surface that Oscar said just now, Dai Mubai had long since left them behind. Su Xun smiled and nodded, then let go of his hand. His eyes turned to Oscar, his face was harmless, and he said with a faint smile. "It seems that the effect of the soul pill is good. In a few days, Oscar, you will be level 30. "What? Xiao, you're almost level 30. Before Oscar could speak, Dai Mubai cried out in surprise, looking at Oscar in disbelief. He remembered that Oscar only broke through the 28th level half a month ago, and now he has to be at the 30th level. This cultivation speed can completely break the record of the youngest soul master held by him in Shrek Academy. Thanks to Senior Su Xun." Seeing the two of them like this, Oscar's mouth twitched slightly, and his stiff face forced a smile, which was even more uncomfortable than crying. The ghost knows what he just went through. Woo woo. It's so embarrassing, he almost wanted to cut himself off. "Xiao, you can do it." Seeing Oscar admit it, Dai Mubai smiled and patted his shoulder with a big hand, and said with heartfelt joy. According to your current cultivation speed, you can completely break my record. Soon we will have 2 Soul Master students in our academy. Hearing this, Oscar gave a slightly relieved smile and nodded. Although the soul pill made him feel unbearable, the effect was obvious, and it could be said that he made a lot of money. It stands to reason that Su Xun's current level is only a soul master, and the refining medicine should be only 1/20th of the spirit power of the 11th level. Force. But in fact, the soul power in Su Xun's body has long since broken the 10th level limit, reaching the terrifying 50 level unprecedented. Even if it was restricted by the lack of a spirit ring, the effect of the pill could not reach the level of 41, but it was definitely not a mere 11, so it was able to help Oscar improve his spirit power. Hey! Look at my brain, it should be 3 soul venerables, the senior's soul power is probably over the 30th level. Seemed to have thought of something, Dai Mubai patted the back of his head and looked at Su Xun apologetically. In his opinion, Su Xun has been in seclusion for more than 10 years, and his strength is definitely not simple. I am afraid that he has long been a soul master, and even a soul sect has a great possibility. As soon as Dai Mubai said these words, Oscar also stared at Su Xun, his eyes filled with curiosity. My current soul power is only level 25, which is far worse than yours. Su Xun replied truthfully. What? Only level 25? Su Xun's words sounded like a thunderbolt. Leda and Dai Mubai were stunned for a while, and the two of them stared at Su Xun in stunned eyes, their faces full of unbelief. They knew that Su Xun had entered Shrek Academy since he was a child, and was already a soul master at the age of 6. 13 years have passed, and you are only level 25. This is the rhythm of leveling up 1 level a year. Isn't it saying that Tianjiao is born full of soul power? The teacher is deceiving, right? What's wrong with level 25? Maybe with your current strength, Mubai, you can't generally beat me as an auxiliary spirit master. Knowing how Dai Mubai reacted like this, Su Xun wasn't surprised at all, but he couldn't make them look down on him. Anyway, he has already stated the defensive power of the soul sect level, so he simply sits down. When they were amazed at Su Xun's soul power level, the words that suddenly sounded again made the two of them a little confused, especially Dai Mubai, who looked at Su Xun in amazement at the moment, and didn't feel that Su Xun was provocative at all. Auxiliary type Soul Master vs Self-Assault type Battle Soul Venerable? Did you hear this wrong? You will find out later, let's go eat first. Su Xun did not continue to explain, nor did he prove his meaning. He waved to the two of them, and then walked towards the cafeteria. Party going to eat in town? This is absolutely impossible in Shrek Academy. The biggest possibility is to buy some good food and let the villagers make it, that's all. What exactly does that mean? Noticing the back of Su Xun's departure, Dai Mubai frowned deeply, not knowing why. Judging from the tone of Su Xun's words just now, it doesn't seem like he's lying, and there's no need to deceive them. Is it possible? Senior Su Xun really has a way to defeat himself? Boss Dai, you know, I am an auxiliary food soul master, where is your opponent? Seeing Dai Mubai turn his gaze to himself, Oscar's mouth twitched slightly, and he quickly expressed his stance. Let's go. This is the reaction that an auxiliary spirit master should have. Dai Mubai secretly said, keeping his mind attentive, planning to ask Zhao Waoqi about Su Xun. End of this chapter. Chapter 9 Zhao Waoqi, I'm too hard. Wow! This time is too rich, I haven't seen chicken in a long time. As soon as he came to the cafeteria, Oscar's nose was already sniffing. When he smelled the fragrance, his whole body became excited, and he rushed in. Soon, a scream rang out. Xiao this guy! Seeing Oscar's virtuous character, Dai Mubai covered his face helplessly. Even if he knew what was going on at the academy, he still felt a little embarrassed, especially Su Xun here. Although Su Xun has always been in the academy, in Daimyo Bai's view, the other party is still half a stranger, and since he is a senior, he always has to pay attention to his appearance. Let's go. I haven't smelled such a fragrant meal for a long time, so I must have a big meal this time. Patted Daimyo Bai on the shoulder, Su Xun smiled and walked towards the cafeteria, obviously faster. This senior seems to be easy to get along with. Daimyo Bai muttered inwardly, and quickly followed. In the cafeteria, 2 long tables of about 3 meters are placed quietly, one of which has nothing, the other is full of food, and there are a lot of minced meat, vegetables, and fruits. Beside the table, a figure was running around, licking the saliva that flowed, drooling. Oscar's expression was excited, and he couldn't help reaching out to the chicken with his hands. Unfortunately, before his paws could touch, he shrank back in embarrassment under the gaze of a few pairs of dignified eyes. Okay, Su Xun is here, everyone sit down. Watching Su Xun step into the dining hall, Zhao Waoqi patted the table and said without doubt. Although Zhao Waoqi had a faint smile on his face, he could clearly see a look of resentment in his eyes. He was aching while smiling, and it was really embarrassing for him. Xiao Xin and the others had already taken their seats. Following Zhao Waoqi's opening, Oscar calmly followed suit, but he soon realized something. He rolled his eyes left and right, and said curiously. Mr. Zhao, is Fatty still back? Don't worry about him, I guess you can practice outside. Zhao Waoqi waved his hand, but when he mentioned the word cultivation, he really aggravated his tone. The people present naturally understood what it meant and smiled bitterly, but Oscar did not continue to ask. Cultivation? Hee. I'm afraid the evil fire can't be suppressed, which girl is harming again? Fortunately, Ma Heng-jun is outside, otherwise it would cost me a lot more. Looking at a table of food, Zhao Waoqi couldn't help but imagine Ma Heng-jun's fat belly, and he was suddenly thankful that the other party wasn't there. Su Xun naturally also noticed that Ma Heng-jun was not there, so he smiled and didn't ask any further questions. He glanced at the food on the table, and then sat down obediently. After so long in retreat, he realized that food can be so fragrant, and he had to eat a good meal today. We will recruit students tomorrow, everyone should stop drinking today, just let go and eat. Zhao Waoqi said, holding back his distress. That's right. It's rare for the vice president to have a guest today, everyone eat more. Xiao Xin echoed with a smile. Cough cough. As soon as these words came out, Zhao Waoqi coughed violently and looked at Xiao Xin with a confused expression. My treat? When did Lao Tzu say that Lao Tzu has a treat? Lu Kaiban grinned at this, and did not mix in, but ate the delicious food with peace of mind. Zhao Waoqi is always arrogant in the academy, and bloodletting is also right. Wow! Teacher Zhao has made a fortune and is so arrogant. Oscar looked at Zhao Waoqi with admiration, his eyes were staring at gold stars. Why does this meal cost dozens of gold coins, which is worth all he is worth now? Cough cough. It's rare for everyone to get together, it's all right, it's right, let's do it. Although his flesh hurt to death, Oscar's adoring eyes made Zhao Waoqi swallow the truth that came to his lips, and secretly digested the bad news. Seeing Zhao Waoqi being led by Xiao Xin and glaring at him, Su Xun also thought it was a little ridiculous. After a meal, everyone was very happy, even Zhao Waoqi, who was suffering from blood loss, leaned back lazily on the back of his chair with a satisfied expression on his face. Oh, since everyone is here, let's arrange the enrollment for tomorrow. Hiccuped, Zhao Waoqi blushed slightly, and said shyly. As soon as S words came out, everyone's expressions froze, all eyes were on Zhao Waoqi, and Su Xun also communicated with the system. Look at the tasks for admission tomorrow, just pick some reliable ones. Su Xun said. Understood. The system replied, and the tasks were listed in a short while. Yellow level task, serve as an assessment officer for one of them. 300 points. Purple mission, draw 100 applicants, 10 of them pass the assessment. 5,000 points. Purple mission, defeat all the final examiners. 5,000 points. Yellow level mission, defeat one of the participants. 300 points. Purple mission, join the final examiner team and hold a stick of incense in Zhao Waoqi's hands. 2,000 points. Black level mission, in front of everyone, defeat Zhao Waoqi head-on. 20,000 points. Yellow level task, responsible for leading the normal order of freshman registration and assessment. 400 points. Looking at the quests in the columns, there were more than 30 tasks, and Su Xun finally put them on the purple level tasks and the yellow level tasks. The difficulty level of the task is the same as the color of the soul ring, which is divided into white, yellow, purple, black and red. The number of points rewarded is the same as the lifetime of the spirit ring, with a limit of 100, 1000, 10,000 and 100,000. The difficulty of the task will change with Su Xun's strength. For example, judging from his current body can withstand the attack of the soul Douluo level, the black level task is to defeat the soul saint level Zhao Wuji, which is an extremely difficult task. After all, although Su Xun's body can resist a full-strength attack from soul Douluo without being seriously injured, it is only a normal soul Douluo attack, and Zhao Waoqi's strength is comparable to that of a normal soul Douluo, and Su Xun has no soul skills to use. It would be tricky to defeat Zhao Waoqi. Of course, it doesn't mean that Su Xun will definitely lose. If Su Xun is willing to use all means, the odds of winning can be said to be great. As for the red level task, it is worth more than 100,000 points. It can be met but not obtained. The difficulty is also the biggest. I am afraid that it is not to defeat a soul Douluo or a title Douluo. Host, don't you think about the only black level mission? Seeing that Su Xun directly filtered out the task of 20,000 points, the system was in a hurry and reminded with a roar. With your current strength and the 90% strength bonus of the 9 strength pills, defeating him is definitely not a problem. A total of 2,700 points, which is a good income. Su Xun nodded and muttered to himself. 3 kinds of tasks, enrollment order, defeat 1 applicant, fight against Zhao Waoqi together, and complete a total of 2,700 points. System. I'm squatting. Are you listening to me? The system asked gloomily. Sorry. No. System. Ah. Bring me my 40-meter broadsword, I'm going to cut down this dog host. End of this chapter. Chapter 10 Su Xun's Black Belly. For the black level task of defeating Zhao Waoqi, although Su Xun was greedy for points, it was not worth exposing all his cards. With 1 more whole card, 1 more point of safety. Points cannot be earned, but there is only 1 life. In a word, not worth it. As for defeating all those who participated in the assessment, Su Xun had no plans to do so. Tang San was not easy to deal with, and even more difficult to deal with was his father. Su Xun didn't want to cause trouble. Zhao Waoqi will be fine with this pot, he won't touch this bad head. As for Zhao Waoqi, at this moment he didn't even know that he had been arranged by Su Xun, and he was still arranging others. Old Li, tomorrow you will be in charge of the first test, the second test of spirit power and potential, Xiao Xin, is your responsibility, and the third test will be handed over to the control department's Lao Lu. After a slight pause, Zhao Waoqi stood up with a slightly raised corner of his mouth, and said aggressively. As for the 4th level, I will personally go out and choose a few monsters for the academy. Hearing Zhao Waoqi's words, Xiao Xin and the others looked at each other in dismay, and then nodded in unison. There were only 4 of their teachers in the academy, and it was perfect for each of them to be responsible for 1 item. Teacher Zhao, didn't you say that I was in charge of the 4th stage? Daimyo Bai said in confusion. As soon as the words came out, Dai Mubai felt a sharp gaze swept over his back, only to see Zhao Wuji looking at him sideways, and said coldly. What? Do you have an opinion? No opinion, no opinion. Dai Mubai swallowed in fear, shaking his head faster than anything else. Su Xun and Dai Mubai left when dinner was over. Walking on, Dai Mubai seemed to have thought of something, and the corner of his mouth smiled, as if a man understood. There's nothing to do at night anyway, why don't we go shopping in the city together? Su Xun was not much older than them. The first day they met was supposed to be a good relationship. Oscar was absolutely embarrassed to refuse. Dai Mubai looked directly at Su Xun. Respect what Su Xun meant. You've already been there at noon, and now you're going again, isn't it too much fun? Hearing Dai Mubai's words, Su Xun remembered Tang San and jokingly said. Don't mention it, it's a pity. From Su Xun's intriguing smile, Dai Mubai knew that the conversation at noon had been heard by the other party, shrugged his shoulders and sighed, without the slightest embarrassment on his face, but rather generous. Man, this is nothing. Su Xun. What a scumbag. No wonder so many author fathers want others to take away your zhuzuking, he deserves it. Su Xun felt that zhuzuking was worthless in his heart, but it's a pity that the beauties in the world. It's really unfortunate that I haven't met a good man like him. Seems to have heard Su Xun's inner monologue, the system can't stand it anymore, and he complained without hesitation. I've never seen such a brazen person. In my opinion, the host is going to kneel and lick the heroine again and embark on the road of the infinite harem. Fuck off. I don't want to die by myself. Su Xun was furious. Damn it. You are racing the host and the speed is too fast. The system was shocked. Su Xun. This system, how many seeds did you download by yourself? Do you think the author's father was scolded for opening the harem? How many episodes will he let me live? Su Xun had a black line on his face. System. This question is very meaningful. Or, I send a few boxes of gold blades to beg for mercy? Cough, that's too far. He didn't continue to argue with the system. Su Xun had his own understanding of what Dai Mubai was doing. But thinking about Tang San, Su Xun couldn't help but tentatively said. Looks like you've met an interesting guy. Dai Mubai was stunned for a moment, and looked at Su Xun with some surprise, wondering how he discovered this. That's right. If you guessed correctly, the other party should have also come to sign up for Shrek Academy. That guy's strength is not bad, so passing the assessment shouldn't be a problem. Dai Mubai replied truthfully. Boss Dai, I don't know if the person you're talking about is a man or a woman. Oscar's eyes lit up when he heard the newcomer, and he asked. Of course it's a man, but with a beautiful woman beside you, don't even think about it. Thinking of Tang San's strength, Dai Mubai couldn't help reminding Oscar. The strength of the other party's great soul master and himself are very impressive. After becoming a soul master, I am afraid that the strength will definitely not be weaker than himself. It is better not to provoke such a person, maybe he will become a classmate. Your friend's wife can't be deceived, I'm not that kind of person. Oscar looked righteous, and then sighed with some regret. What a pity, I don't know when the college will be able to recruit more beautiful students. Maybe tomorrow. Su Xun smiled mysteriously, sneered inwardly, then looked at Dai Mubai and said. Tomorrow is recruiting. Although Shrek Academy is poor, there must be some pomp. Mubai, go to the city and invite the 2 young ladies of etiquette to come over. The money spent is what I owe you, and it can be considered a gift to the academy after my retreat. Miss Manners? Is it too exaggerated? Oscar said with a strange expression. In his impression, only one sign is needed for college admissions. Where can there be more of these famous halls? Senior is too polite, but it's just a little money, and it's for the sake of the college, where can the senior pay? Dai Mubai was born as a prince after all, and he had seen the world, so he didn't reject it in the slightest. Although Shrek Academy was out of money on the outside, it was golden and jade inside, and there had to be some foil. In the past, the admissions were based on the appearance of the college. I don't know how many people were dismissed. There are 2 hostesses, so I'm not afraid of being unattractive. As for money, Daimyobai didn't really care. Finding 2 ceremonial beauties in Soto City couldn't be easier. 1 yard is 1 yard, no one's money comes from the air, I'll pay you back for the money later. Su Xun's tone was firm. It is good. Seeing that Su Xun pays such attention to details and is arrogant, Daimyobai is not forcing it, but he has a higher look at Su Xun in his heart. Boss Dai, didn't you win a pair of twins recently? Oscar reminded, pushing Daimyobai's arm. That's not bad. I can ask them to do me a favor. Hearing this, Daimyobai's eyes lit up, and he said with a smirk. It was a good thing that someone broke the last time, but this time it happened to be the best of both worlds. Wrong. Is the best of 3 worlds, firstly, having the Miss Manners, secondly, it is convenient for me to communicate with them, and thirdly, I sold another favor to Senior Su Xun. That's it. Satisfied with Oscar's divine assist, Su Xun nodded, his eyes swept across Daimyobai's face with a smile, and then quickly left. Tomorrow, wait for a good show. System. The host is so black, the Lun family likes it. Roll. Don't ask me to do black level tasks. System. Fucking ruthless. End of this chapter.